There's a lot of reasons this Spencer Lee-Luke Lillidahl matchup at Final X is incredibly intriguing. And if you don't know, these two are going to be wrestling June 14th in Newark, New Jersey, live on FloWrestling in a 2 out of 3 series. The winner of that 2 out of 3 will represent Team USA in Zagreb, Croatia at the UWW World Championships. Final X is an amazing event, and now it's both Spencer Lee and Luke Lillidahl's Final X debut. And there's a number of wrinkles to this, right? And there's a lot of parallels between these two that you maybe don't realize, maybe you do, I don't know. But Luke Lillidahl, in many ways, is at a similar stage of his career where Spencer Lee was at this age, right? Coming up, Luke Lillidahl was one of the best age-level wrestlers in the country, probably the premier lightweight, down at 57 kilograms. He won a U17 world title and a U20 world title, just like Spencer. Spencer had 3 to Luke's 2, but Luke made, I believe, 4 straight finals, maybe more, at the age level. So just a extremely high-level international wrestler at the age group level. And Luke, like Spencer, was such an undeniable talent coming out of high school that there was no question that he would wrestle year one for their respective teams. Spencer Lee wrestled the first year of his career for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Took some losses during that regular season, but ultimately was the NCAA champion as a true freshman. Luke Lillidahl, it seemed like his season was on a similar trajectory to Spencer's, where he took some losses. He had a loss to Dean Peterson and had a loss to Brendan McCrone. But it always felt like he put it all together. And then at the Big Tens, he really dominated Matt Ramos, and then he became almost everyone's pick to win the NCAA tournament, but got upset by Sheldon Seymour, wrestled back for third. But really through that point in their careers, pretty similar. But there is a huge difference, right, in one thing. And I'm not for a second saying, yeah, Luke is Spencer Lee at this stage, because Spencer has a differentiator. Spencer has an X factor, and that X factor is his match-ending ability. Luke Lillidahl, he's someone you're going to see elite speed. They call him Lightning Luke for a reason. Collar and ankle, great down block, reattacks, and go-behinds. But from a physicality standpoint, Luke is good. From a physicality standpoint, Spencer Lee is a one of one. The things he can do from a strength perspective, from a body awareness perspective, are just straight up different. His power from the top position, when he gets on top, and he gets on top against just about everyone, he turns basically everyone he wrestles, right? It's just like it was in his folk style career. You can't let this guy get on top. If he does, you're going to get turned probably multiple times. And Spencer Lee is an elite gut wrench, elite leg lace. And if you recall, these two wrestled back in November of 2023. And that's back when, Luke was still in high school. Spencer was ramping up to make the Olympic team, which he did. And of course, Spencer Lee, Olympic silver. And this was frankly a dominant win for Spencer Lee. And that doesn't really stand out because we've seen Spencer Lee do that so many times. But the one thing, if you're looking for some hope here, is just the trajectory of Luke from where he was then. He was losing matches and having competitive matches with Liam Cronin and guys like that. And then you watch his U.S. Open where he kind of dominates his way through, including a very tough Liam Cronin. Just shows the improvement Lillidahl has had over the last year and change. So there's no question about it that the Luke that Spencer wrestled at the Bill Farrell in November of 2023 no longer exists. It's a completely different guy. But is he different enough to make it challenging? Is he different enough to push Spencer Lee? And that's the tougher answer for Luke. And I think the answer is still a no, and probably a definitive no. And because for Spencer Lee, he is not just the favorite to make this team. He's the favorite to win the world championships at 57 kilograms. He's ranked number 1 in the world right now. So the idea of him losing domestically in the international landscape is really far-fetched. And an interesting dynamic, just the history with Spencer Lee and Penn State. It's fascinating because this is a kid, Spencer Lee, who from Pennsylvania, it was assumed not just by the Lee family, but by the Penn State staff and people around the program, Spencer's coming to Penn State. That was just not just the expectation. It was sort of an unspoken thing. And then Spencer made the decision to go to Iowa. And Penn State's been trying to find a guy that can knock off Spencer Lee ever since. They had Nick Soriano. Soriano left. They've had a number of good recruits and good lightweights. But they're still trying to find someone that can knock off Spencer Lee. And now Luke Lillidahl maybe presents the best potential opportunity. Whether it's been collegiate or freestyle, no one from Penn State has been able to knock off the great Spencer Lee. And so now there's that, unstated but always present rivalry. Don't get me wrong. Penn State may not say it, Iowa may not say it, but the Iowa-Penn State angle is just very, very real here. And there's no doubt that the Penn State staff has been trying to find a way to knock off Spencer Lee for years and haven't quite been able to do it, even when they brought in Thomas Gilman, right? They've got Luke Lillidahl now. They've had some elite guys throughout the years, but none of them been able to beat Spencer Lee. So for me, the keys for Luke Lillidahl, you got to find a way to be competitive late here. Now, does that mean you need to be evasive early on? I think probably so. But Spencer Lee is this tsunami of physicality that can beat you up and get to his legs. And if you take an errant shot, he's going to punish that. So, using that, maybe Luke has a speed advantage. Maybe. I'm not conceding that. I'm saying it's a possibility. Speed, elusivity, quick strike picks. He's got to finish quick on Spencer if he attacks. If he's not finishing quickly, not only is he not going to score, it's very likely Spencer's going to score because he's just that great defensively. If he can stop your opening finish. So those are the things he needs to do. And then if he gets taken down, and it seems like that's almost a foregone conclusion for anyone wrestling Spencer, you got to either get lucky with your parterre defense, or you need to be towards the out of boundary line where Spencer can't get a run of turns going. Those are the things you're probably thinking about if you're Luke Lillidahl, and how you're going to knock off someone as great as Spencer Lee. So I'm really excited for this match. I know on paper people are not giving Luke much of a shot. But I just think, just from a strategic standpoint, from a wrestling fan standpoint, you're seeing, the number one program in America with an elite talent. What sort of game plan do they try to implement? Because to me, that's as interesting as anything, whether it works or not. Just how are they thinking as they approach this match against Spencer Lee? So you can watch this live June 14th, Final X, live on FloWrestling, the full 2 out of 3. There's a number of amazing matchups. You've got all of women's freestyle, all of men's freestyle, save the 61 kilogram match. Going to be going down live. An incredible evening. We'll see you June 14th. Who you got? Spencer Lee? Are you giving Lightning Luke any shot here?